All right, today I have Athena Intelligence founder and CEO, Brendan Geils, joining me. Our conversation is going to focus heavily on workflow automation, machine learning, and AI, and how it can impact service-based fields like law. Brendan, thanks for joining me.
Thanks for having me, Adam.
You got it, man. All right, so can you explain to us in a few words what Athena Intelligence is? Like, what's the goal of the company? But do me a favor, I want you to dumb this down. Imagine you're talking to like a tech illiterate attorney who just can't understand, everything these tech companies are doing.
Absolutely. The simplest way to think of Athena is we're building an artificial employee, specifically an analyst. And that analyst can do all the functions that a remote hire can do. In practice, this takes the form of a web application that a lot of our enterprise customers purchase, and they have all these AI native workflows that they build on top of it. The more they use the system, the more the system learns these workflows and then takes those off their plate. The same way you hire a new analyst, then the analyst over time is taking more and more off your plate. That's how we think of Athena.
Really cool. Is it, when we think about an analyst, right, or any employee that's thinking and doing and learning, right, there's a level of like reasoning and creativity. Are you trying to build that? Like, are you trying to have your system reason and be creative right now? Or is it like learn how to do something and then do it?
Yeah, I think there's two approaches. I typically like to think about these as like, what is the human equivalent? How do we teach a new hire? For the really great new hires, you appreciate the creativity they have in solving a novel solution, and you give them more and more novel problems. We're seeing that more and more within the software. Early days, a lot of folks came in and expected the system to effectively do data entry, analysis, labeling, classification, some of the topical data classification workflows and document analysis workflows people are used to. Nowadays, they appreciate some of the creativity that the system's able to solve for, and we're leaning in more and more there.
Really cool. All right, so look, I'll full disclosure, we've engaged Athena AI to help us with a couple of different things. So some background. Look, everyone knows I'm really focused on leveraging the best tech I could find. I take a lot of phone calls. Many of them are a waste of my time, but really, you never know what you're going to find. So I take them. These calls generally go one of two ways. The first way, the tech company has a licensed out-of-the-box solution that they want to sell us. The other way is it's more customizable, but there's a long time period and there's a big financial commitment. There'll be a period of time where they'll build the proof of concept. That costs a ton of money. Then they'll eventually have a full product, more tons of money. I'm not trying to be nice here, okay? But when we had our first call, I won't get into all the details, but you say, show me what you're working on. We show it to you, take a screenshot, and your machine, whatever you want to call it, started working right away, right? It was incredible. I'm not just being nice to you. I was really impressed. I was blown away. What I want to know is that because what you're doing is so amazing and revolutionary, or is tech just evolving, or is it a mixture of both? Like, I can imagine the first time someone saw ChatGPT, they were like, you're a magician, and then more of them come out. So is tech evolving, or are you guys just really far ahead of everybody?
Yeah, I would say that the two most important factors that have allowed us to build the current product instantiation is, one, our team has come from enterprises that have built platform style products. So IBM, Yandex, Palantir, Scale AI, these types of companies have built larger products that are highly configurable at the client site. So I think that's like a core tenet of our team. The second is we built to where the puck was going. So probably 2.5 years ago when we started the company, we had a few beliefs around what would be happening in the market, and we could have solved the problem right in front of us, the 3-month problem, the 6-month problem. We actually set out and solved probably a little bit closer to a 1 to 2 year problem. What ends up happening is, because of that, we're now kind of skating past everyone towards where the puck is today, which is allowing us to effectively leapfrog a lot of the competition. So when we think about what we go to market with, we're going to market with a product that we ideated on 2 years ago.
Really cool. All right, so let's speak more globally, right? I think that when attorneys hear about AI, they get a little freaked out. There were a couple of decisions not too long ago where an attorney was using AI to write motions. They didn't check what the machine created for them. So a lot of attorneys get freaked out. I think right now you'd agree with me. Athena can't write motions. Athena can't litigate, right? what do we think is the best use case for service providers right now? I know you kind of answered this a little bit, but like, how should a law firm be thinking, or a service provider, any company doing service work should be thinking about where just tech is globally?
Yeah, I think each firm's going to look a little bit different, but the areas that we typically recommend from like a first deployment perspective is high throughput and is not mission critical. So these are internal operations, not client facing operations. These are repetitive in nature. These are highly digital in nature. So there's no point within the value chain where it's an offline workflow. So for example, if me and you are having a conversation, it's going to be over video, it's going to be an email, there's going to be some document or digital footprint. When it comes to a workflow that might not live in a digital footprint, this is going to be a bit more difficult for the agent like Athena to actually have the ability to solve the problem, because maybe we don't have all the context. So I think those are some of the core tenets we start to solve for. What we found though is typically people, they get a taste of what this thing can do in like a smaller setting, and they end up finding ways to introduce verification, citing sources, the same workflows that you and I will do if we hired a fresh analyst and we don't trust them immediately. You know, that intern that's allowed to join the Zoom call but not speak during the first session. Maybe the second session they're going to be able to, have a small end of the session where they're going to be presenting, and then by month 6 they're actually presenting on your behalf and you're not attending the meeting. These are the sorts of things that we're noticing in market, and each firm is going to do it a little bit differently based on their risk profile.
Where do you think this goes in 5 years or 10 years or in 3 years or whatever? Like will AI be writing motions? Is that what you think?
I don't know. What I like to think though is probably 2%, or I think 1.9% of the U.S. Population currently does a farming related role. If you would ask someone 100 years ago, that number looks very differently. I don't think people today think much about, what was it like not to live in a world where everyone's, producing agriculture. I think in the same position, over the last 30 years, we lived in this weird world where people had to be tied to their phones, their computers to get any work done. I think 50 years from now, we're going to look back and say, wow, we're so glad these AI tools got us to, stand up again, talk to humans again. Will that be motions? Maybe. But I think in like the short to even medium term, we're going to have more interesting roles for people. And a lot of the data entry and kind of the nitty gritty and mundane is going to be offloaded to these types of systems.
All right, cool. I appreciate it. Thanks for joining me. This was great. For anyone interested in learning more about Brendan and Athena and what they're doing, you can email him directly. We'll drop his email in the bottom of the video and then also in the chat. And thanks for tuning in.